Jezebel spirit has already been here.
Okay, if you didn't see this clip, that was Pastor Mark Driscoll speaking at, I believe it's the James River Church's men's conference. That's a large church in Missouri, multiple locations. Pastor John Lindell is the senior pastor there. Mark's on stage. The day before at the event, it appears that there was a performer who was hired, who's a male, kind of, up there by himself with kind of this like leather, pleather, bondage looking gear on. And he rips his shirt off and he starts kind of slinking up and down this pole, doing acrobatics and kind of weird, gestures, the types of things that you would see at like a Grammys performance behind Madonna or at some sort of, sleazy strip club on a movie or something. And Pastor Mark gets up there, takes his hat off, says, I've been up all night. I've been praying about how to handle this, about what to say. He says, this is not an accusation. This is not a rebuke of no one, of anyone specifically, but it's an observation that we have allowed this Jezebel spirit in here, connects it to an Asherah pole, all these things. I mean, just has a brilliant response. It's short-lived, though, because Pastor John Lindell, who's the senior pastor here, whose conference this is, calls Mark out from the stage. This is inappropriate. You shouldn't be saying these things. Eventually tells him to get off the stage. Mark, being a respectable guy, recognizing that he has delegated authority at somebody else's church, says, that's fine, I'll go. And he walks off. And the only thing that should have been different here is the crowd should have left with him. In fact, the crowd should have left probably the day before. And I don't know Pastor John Lindell. His name is new to me. I just recently, just about a month ago, I started following his church. I saw somebody else I knew who spoke there recently. And I don't know what is happening there, but it's weird. I can't think of one scenario where this would be an appropriate way to open up a men's conference event. Now, you could take the same, having a guy with his shirt off is not the problem. You remember the power team back in the day? These guys would rip phone books in half and, got the muscle shirts on and lift heavy weights. Like some big manly man coming up there and ripping his shirt and talking about being strong for Jesus. Like, man, okay, I'll give you that all day long. This guy was doing stripper moves. And there is no world where that would be appropriate to happen inside of a church or for any sort of Christian event or supported by a Christian event in this way. And it was inappropriate. And Mark actually did the right thing. Pastor John went up afterwards, started crying, Matthew 18. He didn't say something to me privately. And look, I believe in Matthew 18. It's a biblical way to handle conflict. Matthew 18 is about one-on-one personal offenses. That was not this. This was something that took place in front of a lot of people. This is a big crowd. And I believe Mark was in the right by addressing it publicly. I was actually just at an event here recently where a guy kind of grabbed the microphone and was trying to rebuke people on the stage for certain things that they were saying. That person didn't have delegated authority in the instance I'm talking about here. Mark had a delegated authority. He had assignment from God, from this pastor. He had an invitation to take the microphone, a set time to deliver a word for the men that were in the room. And I believe that he was doing just that. If this would have been just an issue with Pastor John personally, and Mark went up there and started talking about Pastor John directly about all these sorts of things, that's a different story. If he had not talked to Pastor John about that, privately, he shouldn't have been doing that publicly. This was not. This was a generalized thing for the whole group. And I think that Mark was in the right by saying something. It was not just an error of one person or a slip in the moment or a wrong word choice or something like that. This was a spirit that was cultivated in the room. And look, I've never met Pastor Mark Driscoll. We've been on several panels together on Newsmax and Real America's Voice, I think, different platforms over the years. But I like the guy. And although, I probably would say things differently, he's probably got a little bit more edge to how he approaches certain topics than what I do. I think that he 100% handled himself with the utmost class and maturity in this situation. So Pastor Mark, kudos, man. Great job.